The stories of some great generals of God started with a sweet beginning. But not the same can be said of this great general, Maria Woodworth Etter, in the quiet countryside of Lisbon, Ohio. On July 22, 1844, a little girl was born who would one day shake nations with the power of God. Her name was Maria Woodworth. She came into a humble home, one of 8 children, in a time when life was hard and opportunities were few, especially for a young girl. Maria's early years were marked by hardship. Her father, Samuel Underwood, was a farmer who struggled to provide for his large family. When Maria was just 12 years old, tragedy struck. Her father suddenly died from sunstroke while working in the field. The loss shattered the family, forcing her mother, Matilda, and the children to labor in farms and factories just to survive. But in the middle of this sorrow, something began to stir in Maria's heart. She was just a young girl, yet she felt a divine pull, a strange inner call to serve God. One day, while attending a small country church, she heard a preacher speak about surrendering one's life fully to Christ. At that moment, something broke inside her. She later said, "I heard the Lord calling me to go into his vineyard and work." But there was a problem. In those days, women were not allowed to preach. The idea of a woman standing before a congregation was unheard of. The church itself discouraged her dreams. So Maria kept silent. She buried the call deep inside her heart, thinking perhaps she had misunderstood God. For years, she struggled with that divine call. She married Philo H. Woodworth, hoping perhaps her life would take a peaceful turn. But their marriage was not easy. Poverty followed them wherever they went. She gave birth to 6 children, but heartbreak returned again. 5 of them died in childhood. Each loss carved a deeper wound, yet also drove her closer to God. Through every trial, Maria began to pray more earnestly. She read the Bible with tears in her eyes, often weeping on her knees for hours. She said, "I promised God that if he would fill me with his spirit, I would go wherever he sent me." Sometime later, the husband died. And though the world saw only a broken widow in the making, heaven saw a general rising. Her early life was not glamorous, but it became the soil from which one of the most powerful healing ministries in history would spring forth. Maria Woodworth Etter's story reminds us that God often chooses the weak things of the world to confound the mighty. From the ashes of pain, she would rise, an anointed vessel who would soon preach with such power that thousands would fall under the glory of God's presence. But it all began here, in the tears, in the silence, and in the secret call of a young girl who dared to say yes to God.